around, make my 40 pop.
Oh my god, like, even before the spoilers came out about this chapter, we thought this chapter was going to be good, but no one really thought it was going to be this good. This chapter is definitely like a historic chapter in the overall Boruto storyline, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys were extremely hyped when you guys seen just the spoilers, just a scintilla of information that we did get before the chapter even came out. And now that the chapter came out, it's even better. But without further ado, let's cut the malarkey. Let's talk about exactly what we all came here. The Boruto's new form, supposedly Momoshiki and Boruto working hand in hand to take down a Kata Insider member, Boro. A lot of people are probably going to be questioning, of course, if this is Momoshiki, but if you guys are reading the tea leaves and you guys are feeling the temperature about what happened previously in the Boruto series, you guys will probably understand that this in fact most likely is Momoshiki, Otsutsuki, and Boruto working hand in hand. And because of that, I'm probably going to be referring to this character just so we don't get confused. I will say that this isn't necessarily the exact actual name of the person, but just so we won't be getting confused, this character right here, I'll be naming him BoruShiki just for this video. But without further ado, what we understand is that Momoshiki took over most of Boruto's psyche and most of Boruto's consciousness during this moment, and that was made extremely clear early on. Like, BoruShiki was talking about some stuff that we never really heard Boruto say himself. Like, the first thing that he said to Boro was like, "Don't get cocky, you inferior creature." Like, when do we ever hear Boruto say something like that? And not only that, BoruShiki basically said he has almost no chakra left, which of course implies that Boruto is not conscious in that moment. And not only that, BoruShiki even forgot what the Rasengan was named for a second. So of course Boruto is not 100% conscious and has 100% control over his body at this point. In my opinion, I think this is definitely going to be like a tail beast dynamic with Naruto. If you guys recall, Naruto, of course, he got a tail beast inside of him. Kurama still does, and Kurama would take over in situations where he absolutely needs to take over. When Naruto was out of chakra, when Naruto was definitely in dire situations, and of course when Naruto was just extremely mad. In this particular situation, I feel like Momoshiki consciously understood that Boruto was definitely in a lot of trouble, mainly because Boro was pretty much on a rampage and was definitely keying in on Boruto in that particular situation. And Momoshiki understood that if he didn't step up right then and there, that he could possibly lose his vessel and lose the future of what he had envisioned for Boruto and himself. Now, quickly just piggybacking off the Naruto and Kurama comparison, this is going to be extremely different, man, because Momoshiki isn't necessarily giving Boruto any chakra. There was a point where Momoshiki understood that Boruto's body was extremely low on chakra, and because of that, he pretty much just went over to Naruto and absorbed some of his chakra and just continued the fight like that. So that right there clearly indicates that Momoshiki isn't necessarily going to be giving Boruto any chakra boost, but what Momoshiki is most likely going to give Naruto is one, complete mastery of the Karma Seal and possibly even the Jougan. Like, we didn't even get to talk about the Jougan and what the Jougan could have possibly done to help out Boruto in this particular situation, mainly because the fight was over in a blink of an eye after Momoshiki took over. But regardless, mastery of the Karma Seal plus the Jougan, and also possibly hundreds of years of battle experience. As we've seen throughout this chapter, a lot of the moves and a lot of the things that we did see BoruShiki do came majority from Momoshiki in this particular situation. And because of that, what we understand is that Boruto as an overall ninja, or excuse me, BoruShiki as an overall ninja at this particular point is most likely going to have a higher ceiling than Boruto would have if he was just fighting by himself. Now, what I do have to say is that, of course, over time and overall, Boruto by himself is probably going to be stronger than this BoruShiki creature, mainly because we understand that just the overall storyline, the overall feel of Boruto, it has to be like that. For example, if you guys recall back in Naruto or Naruto Shippuden, the early parts of Naruto Shippuden, we understood that when Kurama were to take over Naruto's body, he was absolutely stronger in that particular form. But the writers understood for Naruto to take it to the next level, Naruto had to be 100% in control. That's when they gave him the Sage mode, and in came KCM 1, in came KCM 2, and then in came the 6-pass version of Naruto. So this right here is most likely going to be the preliminary stages for Boruto, where majority of times when he is in this form, or majority of times where he does reach this level and pinnacle of power and just intelligence and overall in his overall body, he's most likely not going to be incoherent. But later on in the series, we should expect for the actual Boruto, the real Boruto that we did see in the first episode and the first chapter when he was fighting against Kawaki, that right there is most likely going to be just as strong or possibly even stronger than this version of Boruto. Now, of course, later on in the fight or later on in the chapter, what we did hear from Momoshiki, or excuse me, BoruShiki, he was pretty much talking to himself, aka Momoshiki was talking to Boruto in this particular situation, and he said, "Not yet, my blue-eyed boy. It's still a ways away that you'll lose it all." And of course, they're playing off the scene at the end of the Chunin's End where Momoshiki pretty much told Boruto that those blue eyes will eventually take everything from you. You're no longer a regular shinobi. And the overall aura of that panel was just absolutely so iconic. And that right there, in my opinion, just clearly shows that Momoshiki definitely has a plan for Boruto in the future. A lot of people are probably going to assume that Momoshiki wants to take over Boruto's body, just like how Jigen, or excuse me, Ishiki Otsutsuki is planning to take over Kawaki's body, but I think it's going to be something extremely different. I don't think that Momoshiki pretty much has that plan for Boruto. In my opinion, I feel like Momoshiki is probably going to want to work hand in hand with Boruto, almost as Kurama is working hand in hand with Naruto as of right now. And I know I keep on bringing up that dynamic, but it's just so easy to draw parallels between those two situations right there. And I think this is where you really see the difference between the organic karma seal that Boruto does have and the quote-unquote synthetic karma seal that Kawaki does have. As we know, Boruto got his karma seal after he actually defeated an Otsutsuki member. That's one of the actual true ways that you get it. Kawaki got his karma seal from various testing. Jigen, or excuse me, Ishiki Otsutsuki, he pretty much ran through almost a dozen test subjects and all of them died before he actually completed the karma seal experiment on Kawaki. Now, because he didn't necessarily get it on those type of beings, Kawaki is not going to always have an Otsutsuki member with him at all times, at least not yet. At this point, Ishiki Otsutsuki is still in Jigen's overall body, but in the future, this right here could possibly be a situation where they both have equal karma seals in terms of power, mainly because they both have Otsutsuki members inside of them. Now, here's the thing that's going to be extremely interesting to find out. Are the Otsutsuki transformations in terms of Boruto and Kawaki's, are their powers limited to how strong the Otsutsuki members were? Because what we know is that Momoshiki for an Otsutsuki member is extremely strong. Is Ishiki in turn, because Ishiki seems to be stronger than Momoshiki, is Kawaki's Otsutsuki body in turn going to be stronger than Boruto's Otsutsuki body? And of course, that could possibly be made up, mainly because Boruto has something that Kawaki does not have, so they could possibly have the equal strength in the future. And the thing that Boruto does have that Kawaki doesn't is the Jougan, the pure eye that Tonetti gave Boruto. But just so I don't take up all the time of this review just talking about the Boruto transformation into BoruShiki, I'm probably going to stop talking about that as of right now, and I'll definitely try to make some more videos basically giving my opinions and analyzing what exactly we just seen with this BoruShiki transformation, and also Momoshiki's input and Boruto's life in the future. But as of right now, one of the big things that we did see at the end of this chapter is, of course, Kashin Koji possibly going to defeat Jigen. And I ain't gonna say possibly, he actually said it. He was big and bold, told Amato, which is the Kata organization's scientist, he basically puts together all the scientific ninjutsu. He told him like, yo, I'm about to go off Jigen. And it seemed just so nonchalant from Amato's standpoint, the scientist, man, because he didn't necessarily try to stop Kashin Koji. Now, of course, that could have been for multiple reasons. It might just be the fact that Amato understands that he can't necessarily do anything to stop Kashin Koji, or it might just be the fact that Amato was in on the whole thing to begin with. Maybe they just don't like Jigen, or excuse me, Ishiki Otsutsuki at this standpoint, man, because they understood that majority of the things that Ishiki wanted to do wasn't necessarily the overall sole goal of the Kata organization. For example, the vessel and Kawaki. One of the more important things that I do want to point out, Kashin Koji understands and agrees with the overall premise of what the Kata organization is doing as a whole, mainly because a couple of chapters ago, I shouldn't necessarily say a couple of chapters ago, a couple of years ago in the Boruto manga, he pretty much said to himself that it doesn't necessarily matter what Naruto and everybody else in the Hidden Leaf are doing, they are going to have to give in to the greater power. Now, of course, Kashin Koji didn't necessarily say the greater power was going to end up being Jigen, so it could possibly be a situation where he might be the greater power that he was talking about. One thing that we know for sure is the fact that full power Kashin Koji is not going to be full power Jigen. At this particular moment, Amato pretty much said that Jigen was at 10% of his full power. And of course, we understand fighting Naruto and Sasuke are no easy feat. Those two are extremely strong. And because of that, Jigen is extremely weak as of right now. And because of that, Kashin Koji sees his opening to pretty much defeat and take down Jigen. Now, here's going to be the extremely difficult part for Kashin Koji. Is he going to necessarily get everybody else in the Kata organization on his side? Man, because if we assume that Kashin Koji still believes in the overall point of the Kata organization, this could possibly mean that Kashin Koji wants to be the leader of the Kata organization. But what makes Kashin Koji think that if he does take down Jigen, that the rest of the Kata organization would fall in line, especially even think that Kashin Koji might not even be the strongest character in the Kata organization. And not only that, what we understand is that there are not a lot of people in the Kata organization that should be trusted. What Jigen said, which is extremely ironic at this moment, is the fact that he pretty much said that Kashin Koji was one of the characters from the Kata organization that he trusted the most. And the person that he trusts the most is about to kill him. Like, honestly, what does that say about the other members of the Kata organization? But let me know what you guys think about this chapter in the comment section below. Of course, I'll be covering this chapter for many days to come. If you guys do want to keep updated with what I have to say about this chapter and all the contents in it. For example, Momoshiki and Boruto working hand in hand. Of course, Kashin Koji pretty much defeating Jigen. What I think his overall plans are going to be in the future. Make sure you guys stay tuned and let me know what you guys think about this chapter in the comment section below. But it's me, your boy, Barbie, and we out.
It's a knife.